Hey guys, so I wanted to come on here and go over the 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. This was season 3, episode 7, and it begins starting with Tim and Jennifer. And they wake up. She spends the night with him. He still doesn't do anything to make a move on her, which is what she wants. But they wake up in the bed. Tim asks if Jennifer wants him to make her anything to eat, and she says yes, of course. She wants some breakfast and juice. What he does is he makes her some unseasoned eggs and literally some bread with jelly on it. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, this is the toast? Like, really? The toast is literally bread with jelly on it. And I'm just thinking, okay, so you didn't season the eggs, and your toast is literally just bread with, like, literally a circle. So it wasn't even, there was a circle part of the bread that had like a little bit of jelly on it. But anyway, I digress. So he asked her about the breakfast, and the reason I like Jennifer is because she's really honest. So she tells him it would taste better if he would season it. But whatever, it is what it is, unseasoned eggs, whatever. So they're having a discussion about sex. And I'm telling you guys, so Tim is too much of a beta male for Jennifer. Jennifer wants somebody who is going to be aggressive, who's going to be assertive. She wants someone who's going to make the first move on him. Women don't necessarily want to be the first initiators of sex. I'm not saying that they don't want to initiate it at all. There are some of them who may want to initiate it, but mostly we want the man to take the initiative. This is what Jennifer is saying that she wants. Tim, meanwhile, he's in a situation he can barely even say sex, okay? So can barely even say it. He's not initiated it. She's saying she wants a man who's going to conquer her, and that he shouldn't be waiting for her to tell him, let's have sex. Like, you want me to text you and tell you it's okay to have sex with me, basically. I noticed how he literally could not even say the word sex. He kept saying, well, I want to be romantic with you. It's like, dude, she wants you to just take the initiative. Go kiss her. Like, even if you're trying to be respectful of her, the fact that he didn't even attempt to kiss her was kind of odd. But whatever, Tim's just a beta male, and that's what she needs to realize. But they're supposed to be going to meet the grandparents. And Jennifer says that she's nervous because she doesn't really take people to meet her grandparents, and her grandparents have some concerns. This is who she lives with. They get to the grandparents' house, and Jennifer gets up. She gets, a plate for everyone at the table so they can have a meal. And she's obviously happy that they're there, they can have a meal. The grandparents now have a lot of questions. Obviously, first, the granddad is going to ask, well, what are your intentions for his granddaughter? And that's a very legitimate question, especially with the reputation that some Americans have. Americans have a very different culture than everyone else, and we can see how difficult it is for some of the Americans, we know which ones, to adapt to other people's cultures. But he ultimately says all he wants to do is, get to know her, see how things go, build a life with her. But meanwhile, Tim has a secret about something, because they ask him, has he ever been to Colombia? He says 5 times. Now, for Jennifer, this is interesting because she's like, okay, well, what do you mean you've been here 5 times? She's known that he's been there in the past, but the 5 times, she said that was new news to her. So ultimately, she's going to have to get to the bottom of it. But we really don't, as viewers, don't have to get to the bottom of it, because Tim said what it was. He's been there 5 times because he was dating someone who was from Colombia. Obviously, his last girlfriend, she was from Colombia. So Tim has reasons to be concerned, because if I'm Jennifer, I'm thinking if this dude has been in Colombia several times, then this is just where he picks up his women from. Clearly, he likes Colombian women, and we know that. And so I'm thinking, if I'm Jennifer, am I just another Colombian chick that you want to get to know, since you come over here all the time trolling for Colombian girls? So they go out to dinner again, and she's like, okay, well, I know that he's holding something in. He's not being completely honest. So she wants to get to the bottom of why he's been honest. He decides to tell her that his Colombian ex-girlfriend has sent him a text message. And now, this part I really feel like is scripted, because how much of a coincidence is it? You never heard from this chick. You initiated a text message conversation. I believe that he did. But he's trying to say he doesn't talk to her. He had a serious relationship with her in which they lived together. She was already in America when he met her, but they would go back to Colombia. It was a serious relationship. Now he claims out of the blue he texted her. Now, given the fact that he's still texting his ex-wife and he still had the relationship with her, Jennifer has every right at this point to say, well, give me the phone. I want to see what the text message is. It's interesting how you'll hear a lot of dudes talk about these Latino women, but you can see on here how she's just as assertive and just as demanding of respect as any other woman is. But Tim hands her the phone because, again, Tim's a beta male. He, without pause, unlocks the phone, hands it to her, and then she reads the text. She sees that he still has her programmed under his name as mommy. She's reading the text. She gets pissed. He made the wrong move by saying he doesn't even know why she cares. You're sitting here and you're already talking to your ex-wife. So that's strike number one. But then you don't tell her that you dated somebody from Colombia. You've been there 5 times. Then you say that this woman just conveniently text. I don't even believe, by the way, that she just so happened to text him at that time. I think he initiated something. But after he says he doesn't understand why she cares, rightfully so, Jennifer throws the drink on him. And I'm not mad at that either. So good for her. Darcy and Tom. Darcy is getting on my nerves because Darcy is a woman. She is 44 and everything to her is dependent on sex. Darcy's scene opens where she's going to get some ice, apparently, to put it on Tom's ankle because Tom, at this point, has a sprained ankle. They show it being red and yellow or whatever. Darcy chooses to go get some ice, and while she's in there, she's doing her little narration. She's talking about how her and Tom's relationship has now progressed, apparently. She's fully validated because they had sex. Now, the 44-year-old woman, she can't feel confident in herself unless a man is having sex with her. She simply just can't. She can't even imagine it. Unless he's having sex with her, to her, that means he doesn't like her. Darcy then continues to mention how from the beginning she's really wanted to have sex with him, and now they sealed the deal, the relationship can move forward. It's like, okay, we get it, Darcy. We get it, okay? You don't feel validated. You don't feel special. You don't feel wanted unless a man is having sex with you the minute that he lays eyes on you. These type of women are women that I don't understand, but ultimately what's going on is insecurity. I mean, if you feel like a man has to be being sexual with you in order for you to be validated, then ultimately you don't have faith that you have anything other than your body as a woman to offer him. So that is Darcy's situation. But she says she finally feels like they're on the same page. His ankle is supposed to be hurt from the wild, crazy sexual experience they had, although Darcy said she didn't remember him being that rough. So how he sprained his ankle, the world will never know. But he's saying this because he was really just getting it in and putting it down in the bedroom. Meanwhile, it doesn't even look like he's capable of doing that because he's out of shape. So Belly is at least 5 months pregnant. But Darcy and kisses his ankle, which is really gross to me. They're doing all this pet stuff, but the reality of it is that Tom isn't into her, and it's obvious that they're not into her. But they go on for a walk. They're doing some window shopping, and once again, they pass a jewelry store, and Darcy, in her not-so-subtle ways, is making it known that she wants a proposal. Darcy just can't seem to understand or comprehend that you can't push a man into proposing with you. You can't force a man to want to marry you. And that's what her deal is. Like, she doesn't get that she needs to loosen up on the pressure for him to have sex with her or be in a relationship with her, marry her. It's like, let the man do it on his own. If you have to keep pressuring him to do these things with you, then clearly you're not on the same page. She's saying she's on the same page, but then yet you have to convince this, like, really? You have to keep dropping these hints that you want him to propose to you. Tom says that he's not proposing to her. He literally tells her, I'm not proposing to you. He says that ultimately he wants the same thing, but he wants to take it slow. He's been hurt before. He wants to make sure Darcy is the right one. Darcy should be on the same page, but she's not. She's too focused on marry me, marry me, marry me. She's not even really concerned about whether the marriage is going to last. It's like, you got 2 whole kids that are teenagers who you have to set an example for. So what example is she setting for her kids? To be extremely needy and emotional and base all of the love and care and affection that he gives her on sex. And it just doesn't, she's too old for that. But they're supposed to be going out. and Tom wants her to get to know his friends. He said he spent time with her, but now, you know, she's been there for a week. He wants to see if she can get along with his friends. What he really means is he wants to see how she fares around his ex-girlfriends. But this is actually a benefit to this is actually a benefit to Darcy, because she can get to know the people that he's been in a relationship with. But because Darcy head is in a cloud and she doesn't operate as a 44-year-old, she reminds me more of like a 15-year-old, the way she conducts her relationships. And she doesn't even take the opportunity to pick the minds of these women that he's been with to see what type of mate he is, so that she can see if she wants to be with him. A lot of men actually hide their ex-girlfriends from their new girlfriends. And so you never get to hear it from the female's perspective of what went on, why the relationship ended. Usually the man is controlling the narrative of the past relationship. But in this situation, Darcy has that opportunity. But one of the girlfriends in particular, dark hair one whose name I forget, and that's because it's not important that I remember, but she wants to know the tone of the relationship. She wants to know how things are going, basically the state of the relationship. And Tom tries to talk, but she shuts him down and she says she wants to know from Darcy. What I got out of this is that Darcy has a very different perspective of the relationship than Tom does. Darcy sees Tom as a special person, as her knight in shining armor, the one that she's going to marry. Tom is not on the same page. Tom is being cautious. Darcy should be being cautious, mind you, because she just got out of a relationship, but she's not cautious. She's ready to jump full in. Tom is cautious. He's saying that I've been in a relationship before. I don't want to get hurt. I was hurt in that situation. So he's trying to take things slowly. But Darcy says he's someone very special to her. She's looking for a proposal before he leaves there. She doesn't tell that to the friend, but that's what she says. Tom and his friend, they step aside while Darcy's doing whatever she does during those times when he's talking to his ex-girlfriends. But Tom asks his friend, what does he think about Darcy? So the chick says, well, you know, Darcy's nice and things of that sort, but she doesn't see him with him. Basically, she's saying that Tom has a habit of picking the wrong women, and she doesn't see Darcy with Tom, although Darcy is a nice woman, but she's like, Tom isn't the one to be emotionally expressive. He puts up a wall, he puts up a block, and basically Darcy is not about to bring that wall down. And I don't think she is either. She's too needy. She's too clingy. She can't be, like, he needs a stronger, more confident type woman who it doesn't need to be validated by sex, because we've seen how overly emotional and clingy she is. But whatever. Benjamin and Akinyi. Now, here's my thing. It's very hard for me to care about Benjamin and Akinyi's situation because, again, like I said before, they're boring. Like, they really are boring. But anyway, Benjamin and Akinyi have their scene. And I want you guys to notice how Benjamin is supposed to be taking a shower in here, but I want you guys to notice the absence of soap and a sponge or loofah or towel to clean himself with. Like, he's not cleaning himself with soap, and he doesn't have a towel either. So he's basically taking a shower with his hands in water. Now, for the people who are familiar with my other channel, you know I explained all of this, so we know why he's taking a shower with his hands and no soap and no sponge. But anyway, Akinyi, when she meets up with Benjamin, the fetishization and the petting with them is what makes me not want to talk about their situation, because it's really annoying. But she's petting and rubbing his skin, talking about how white he is and how straight his skin is and all of, she's overly fascinated with the whiteness of the situation. Like, both of them are so color struck and fetishizing of each other that it really just is, it's a little disturbing to me. But in any way, I don't understand how it is that Akinyi is so fascinated with whiteness when she says, you know, that her dad doesn't even like it, her mother doesn't like it, it doesn't sound like her sister does. So she's like the lone person in the family who just has this fetishization for whiteness, and she's so fascinated by it. Meanwhile, she's embarrassed when they walk down the street because everybody's looking at her like she's strange because she said white people don't visit their village. So Akinyi is weird. Their segment is very boring to me. I'm only covering it because I've been covering it, and it wouldn't be fair to you guys for me to talk about it from the beginning and then stop talking about it, but they're really, really boring to me. But as they're walking down the street, people start staring at them. And Akini says this is because there's no white people in her village. Most of the people there have never seen him. I mean, and I'm sure there's many villages and areas in Africa where that's placed. But they sit down at lunch, and Akini basically tells Benjamin the rules of being with her family and how she needs to act, because he ultimately needs to get the approval of her brother and her father. Her brother is on board with it, but then her brother also says that he doesn't think Benjamin is for Akini. Now, in order for them to actually be married, it has to be passed through with the brother and the father. So she tells them the rules: eat the meat on the plate, sit to the left of the brother, don't basically touch her or anything. This is just respect in their culture. But Benjamin is worried because he's broke and a beta. And he doesn't even know how he's going to pay the dowry. And I'm going to call it dowry, although they call it a wifey, is dowry. He doesn't know how he's going to pay the dowry. And my thing of it is get a payment plan. Like, really ask about a payment plan. If you don't even know how you're going to pay for the dowry, then why are you in that situation? I'm going to need these Americans to stop pursuing relationships that is not compatible for them. But Benjamin asked her, what happens if your dad doesn't approve of us? She says, then you just go back to America. And it doesn't seem like her dad is going to approve of him, because dad doesn't even show up when they're there to have dinner. They're there to have dinner. Dad doesn't show up. Not surprising. And first they said he was going to be late, but then he just completely doesn't show up. I'm team dad meanwhile. Michael and man Angela. Angela and Michael are leaving the airport. And after leaving the airport, they temporarily stop in a no parking zone. Some African men come out and put spikes on the car to stop them from leaving. They get into a fight. Angela gets out the car as the man she is, and she, has to back up her man because she's bigger than him. So of course she can defend him better than he can defend himself. They get into a fight because ultimately Michael is not letting them try to take his car. He's saying he'll get out and throw hands if he have to, because the reality of it is there's too many scams out there. Now, they put on the screen that airport security resolved the fight, but I think TLC paid them off or something to quell the situation. But they get in the car to leave, and Angela talks about how she's got nobody's going to attack my man. I can't believe I was such a man. You are the man in the relationship. Like, really? She then makes this demeaning comment saying, oh, her baby's balls finally dropped. How many times is she going to emasculate him? But Michael sits there and says that's how he has to be because there's a lot of people there who run scams. So they go to the hotel, and Angela shows all the stuff and merchandise she did to trump him up. And he goes into the bathroom. He puts on the Trump pants. She gets him on the bed, and she's pulling out all these handcuffs and edible food. She talks about how Michael is more sexually open now. Like, I could literally vomit in my mouth just at the thought. This is like Alien versus Predator. Really, this is a sex scene from Alien versus Predator. Like, I could just vomit in my mouth at the thought of anybody being sexual. Only a black man would be, obviously, because nobody else is. So it's just the eggs are scrambled. You're not giving birth to any kids. Stop it. Stop. Like, stop it. Like, really, or why are we pretending? At this point, why are we even pretending? But in any event, she sits here and tells Michael, a grown man in his 30s, that he's still in trouble for going out on his birthday. This tells you the type of relationship that they have. They're supposed to be going to the beach to have a good day. She wants to do something to celebrate his birthday, but all she's doing is nagging on the way in the car. And it's like, lady, you know he's a liar. You knew before you got on the plane to go out there. Like, stop it. Either be in the situation and deal with what you got, or don't be in it. So she's complaining like a man-child in the car, and she continues to berate him, calling him liars. He continues to allow himself to be in the situation. They get to the waterfront with the boat. Angela mentions that she feels like she's already seen a picture on his social media where he's already been there, and now she feels like he's a liar. So she starts tantruming, saying that she's done, she's not going to the boat. She zooms in on this one woman who was there who wasn't even touching or around Michael, but apparently now she felt like I need these old women who are clearly insecure to stop being in relationships with younger people. If you're long distance relationships, mind you, so you can't even see what they're doing, you don't know where they're at every day. Why are you in a relationship with him? If you're just going to sit here and be extremely insecure, question everything that he's done, you already know, you said that he's been a liar. So why are you even in the relationship? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But she gets out, she throws her tantrum, she says she's done, goes off on her hillbilly rant, and that's the end of their scene. Like, this is such a gross relationship to me, you guys. It really is. Angela needs to go be with somebody that is her age and stop chasing down this man who's in his 30s, because even aside from anything culturally, 30 and 50 is nearly like 2 generations apart. Like, what are you doing besides just trying to get you some young dick? And if that's the case, then leave it as dick and move on. But she doesn't want to do that. She wants to be in a situation with a man who she has to wonder if he's lying to her all the time, get into arguments so she can storm off. But Rebecca and Ziad, Rebecca annoys me more than any one person does. I got to tell you, Rebecca annoys me more than anybody. Rebecca and Ziad are going to meet Ziad's parents, who they will be spending the night with. Rebecca is still insecure and annoying. She breaks the family heirloom when she goes into the house. They sit down to have dinner. The parents made some really good looking couscous. It looked like it was really good. Vegetables in it. Like, all it needed was like a piece of a lamb, and it would have been complete for me. But it looked really good. But while they're at dinner, Rebecca's tattoos start showing. And Ziad's dad basically had the conversation with him when they get up to clear the table, saying that she should get rid of the tattoos and how much the tattoos kind of drags down her quality as a woman. Now, of course, Rebecca is already insecure, so she can't hear any of these things, and it's a good thing she didn't, because she'd be going on a tirade. What really irritates me is the next morning, Rebecca, knowing that she had the secret, that she's been lying, she used 50 filters, so the whole time she's catfishing him. She used the 50 filters, so she's clearly 20 years in appearance older than what she used to be. She hasn't gotten a divorce, and she's extremely insecure, so she has a number of different lies right off the bat, but she's searching through his room to see what he's hiding. She refuses to respect his culture, disrespects him all the time, but she's going through his house, poverty shaming him. Okay, she's poverty shaming this man, talking about how tiny the apartment is, how she's not used to it, how different it is in America. I'm gonna need her to go back to America. Really, that's what I need her to do. She's incredibly insecure, but she's searching his house to see what he's hiding from her. She literally implies, meanwhile, when he's talking to his mom about marrying her, she implies that he wants her for a green card. He needs to be speculating about you and your 50 filters, because you're the one came at him on some deception. Can you believe it? She's the one came at him, deceiving him, but she's questioning him. Unbelievable. Avery and Omar, their whole segment is that Omar is meeting with Avery's mom because they're the dowry. And the dowry goes from the man to the woman in the event that there's a divorce. But the mom, since she's there with Avery to get married, she said the sheik is going to ask at the wedding, what is the dowry that you're paying? So they're sitting there going over the dowry. Ultimately, she decides to do a $6,000 dowry that he has to pay for her to marry her daughter. Now, Avery's mom is saying that she already knows that Avery's in the relationship for love. However, she doesn't want to feel like she's selling her daughter off to him. So she ultimately agrees to do the same dowry as the other sisters did. Avery and Omar are having some issues, so we'll see if they even follow through with it. She does want to move to Syria, but the mom is saying that she's going to do whatever it is in her power to try and get it so that Omar can be in America, because she's not going to let her daughter be in Syria. That's basically what she's saying. So she's saying she'll do everything in her power to help him get to America. Now that Avery's mom is acting like a supportive mom and she's not disrespecting his culture, now I like her better. Now, Seether. This is how I literally watch the show and see this part come on. Let me see what delusion he's going to be wrapped up in this time. But he's having drinks with a group of guys. He's still pretending that Maria's going to show up. He's still referring to her as his girlfriend when she's really not. He excuses himself from the group of dudes that he's out there partying with. He should just stick to that crowd because Maria ain't coming. But he goes and calls his friend, and he talks to the friend, and he's like, oh, Maria's coming. She'll be on the plane tomorrow. No, she won't. Friend is like, okay, well, whatever, dude. You said that 5 times before. But his friend asks him, have you heard from Maria? And he's like, well, no, I haven't heard from her in 4 days. She's showing up, but you haven't heard from her in 4 days. Okay, whatever. But the friend is nice. So he says, well, I don't know why you have so much faith in her. You know, she's already stood you up 5 times. What is making you have the belief? Because Seether is a Christian and he's talking about he's going to go pray on it. He already has the belief and he's having faith, and he says he's going to go pray a lot. Why do you have to pray that somebody that you swear loves you is going to be around you? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Prayer shouldn't be in there. You should be relying on the fact that you said that she loves you. 10 hours later, Seether gets a text from Maria saying that the flight was canceled. Now, mind you, she does this at the time that she's supposed to be landing, not when she's supposed to get on the flight. So clearly she wasn't going to get on the flight anyway. But Seether doesn't really get this. Seether doesn't get that, well, if she's sitting there and like, she's telling you when the flight's supposed to be, you're supposed to be picking her up from the airport. And this is when she tells you the flight was canceled. So flight canceled or not, she had no intentions of getting on the plane. Seether sits here and he acts disappointed because he done got all this chocolate, he got the wine, he has everything that he's trying to put together for her. I'm telling y'all, she wouldn't be on the flight anyway, but this time she had an excuse because Seether calls and he finds out that the reservation was canceled because ultimately they didn't have any payment from him. His card declined. He didn't have the money there. Now, he's already spreading himself thin, so you would think he would have checked his bank account before, but I swear, see, there might be a little, he's lacking, like, the neurons aren't firing, because if you know that you have an issue with finances, why wouldn't you check? But unfortunately, because this situation was when Seether's card declined, he thinks that, oh, Maria still loves him. She just couldn't come because it wasn't her fault. He's not looking at the fact that, okay, but she's telling you that the flight was canceled when it's time to pick her up. So clearly she had no intention of getting on the plane anyway. She just didn't. She wasn't going to get on plane. No, she wasn't. Because if that was the case, she would have told you when she was supposed to be boarding it. So she was just looking for a convenient excuse, and now she has one. And now Seether is going to keep being wrapped up in his delusion. And watch, I promise you, in the next episode, he'll be trying to buy her another one. Because he's going to call her, and what he's going to do is he's going to say, oh, well, let me just buy you another ticket, or suggest maybe that she use the $2,000 that he gave her already to buy herself a ticket. And she's going to say no, indicating that she wasn't going to show up anyway. Seether's going to keep spending money. Because that's just what he does. Because it hasn't entered into his mind yet that he's clearly being used for money. But that was the review of 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Season 3, Episode 7. Let me know what you guys think, especially about me doing them on camera. I wanted to give it a try, but I don't really know if I'm going to continue this or not. But you guys let me know what you think, and also let me know and give me feedback on reviews, because, you know, you guys know I don't really do the review thing, so I'm kind of just trying it out because people requested it. But let me know how you guys think I'm doing, and, you know, I welcome the feedback. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.